Excellent. Derek, how are you?
I'm doing great. I've actually been waiting for this presentation. I got to think about it in the next one. I think we got to make sure you're earlier in the day because omni-channel marketing, we've talked a lot about the channels, we've talked a lot about the site. This ties it all together. And I think it's really important to be thinking about this customer journey. We heard earlier today about surveying customers, understanding cohorts and segments. That, like the survey tool from OmniConvert can get you that information. Then OmniSend can actually break out the segments and send the automations that you want. And so with those two things working in conjunction of each other, we've got a full-fledged system for taking a $1 million store and without changing a thing from a traffic side, just increasing the way we have the conversation and convert the customers. All right. So with that said, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on Black Friday and Cyber Monday and how to prepare for the holidays.
So I appreciate it. And, cutting the challenge here, I appreciate Jamila mentioning OmniSend as an email provider. I'm also in a bad spot of having the follower. Her energy was awesome. So it's like the comedian following the one that killed it. So I'm in trouble here, but I'll do my best to meander through. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your time today. So I mentioned my name is Greg Zakowicz. I'm a marketing strategist and director of content here at OmniSend. I'm not going to give you a big sales pitch on OmniSend. You can visit us at omnisend.com, figure out all the nitty-gritty details about what we do. Just very quickly, marketing automation platform. We are built for e-commerce businesses, designed to increase your sales and not the workload. So we offer D2C brands multiple channels, including email, SMS, push, Facebook, Google Ads Sync, automated visual workflows, templated workflows, and 24/7 support. I'll leave it there for you. So we are here to talk about the holidays because we are just about in the start of the holiday season, as crazy as that might sound. But as opposed to giving you a bunch of the typical holiday prep tips for a variety of different reasons, I'm going to try to hammer down on the things that I think are going to have the biggest bang for the buck, the most chance to drive the most amount of revenue for you this holiday season. If you could do things more than this to pretty up your emails and things like that, all the power to you. But I want to focus on those three things what we need to know and do that's going to drive the revenue. So that's going to cover message essentials, channel opportunities that I think are going to be a gold mine for you. And then also all about sending, when to send, how often to send, and things like that around some of these tentpole days. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into it from automation. So as opposed to telling you to do all your automation and to check your automation, I want to focus really on those high revenue driving pieces of automation. I think the one thing we know is that consumers are going to shop differently. You probably all do it during the holidays, right? You tend to shop quickly, you tend to shop more often, and you're of course, looking for deals. So how do we get you those things and cut off your competitors at the legs if you want to be nice about it? Again, we're going to focus on those higher revenue driving things. So we at OmniSend, we started putting out these quarterly stats reports on all things email marketing, push message notifications, SMS marketing. And the most recent one we put out, 26% of all email conversions during that quarter were made by automated messages. They accounted for less than 2% of all email sends, 1.9 to be exact. So if you think about that, majority of conversions, not a majority, but a quarter of conversions are coming from less than 2% of email sends. High revenue drivers, they're upticking already. So these are things that are going to help you drive the revenue here. Highly read messages, average open rates of 30% for these automated messages, of course, because they're triggered based on customer actions. I will cover a little bit about promotional messages later on in the presentation. So if you're more worried about promotional, stick around. I've got something for you as well. First one of the three automated messages I'm going to talk about is a welcome message. And some of you, if not most of you, already have a welcome message from that stats report, almost 10% of all email conversions. Look at the conversion rate though, 48%. I had to double check these numbers and triple check them because I'm like, there's no way that is right. 48% during Q2, welcome messages converted. It's a crazy number, but if you think about how this is going to transpire during the holiday season, and what's going to happen is we're going to get consumers who are signing up for your email program. Chances are they're going to be waiting to see if there's an incentive inside of that actual email. So we're going to talk about incentives here. What do we do from an incentive standpoint? Well, if you can incentivize, think about how the holidays impact this. So can you offer a stronger incentive, and does that fit within your budget? If so, consider a stronger incentive. If not, just make sure it matches your holiday strategy. So if you're typically doing 30% off site-wide for the holiday sales and your welcome message is offering 10% off, you're not really trying to convince someone to actually make a purchase at that point. If you do want to offer slightly a lesser discount in the welcome message and hopefully use things like a sense of urgency, hey, people know our products might be limited this holiday season, going out of stock quickly, maybe they were going to buy it earlier so they can get it shipped to them earlier. Use that sense of urgency. Hey, products won't last long, so maybe we just change our wording a little bit or the verbiage. But if you do offer something like $5 off a minimum spend, 50 or more, whatever it might be, but you're also offering site-wide sale, just make sure those are stackable. So if the consumer has the ability to stack those discounts and say, I'm going to take advantage of your 30% off site-wide sale, but I also want to get $5 off here. Don't make one or the other of the choice. It's just a bad user experience. So even if you need to strip that $5 off out of your welcome message and replace it with something that matches the holidays, that's okay. But think about how the incentives and the verbiage you use are going to help convert customers there as well. We talk about differentiators, promote these. I mean, go to the rooftops and shout it. This is your chance to stand out from your competitors. So think about the differentiators that matter, right? Free shipping, maybe free returns, extended return policies, no hassle returns, whatever those might be, customer service 24/7, free gift wrapping on orders over XYZ, satisfaction guarantees. These are all things that can influence a purchaser to shop with you, especially during this time of year where they know, hey, the size might not fit. I might not have time to get another one. Can I get that satisfaction? Or what's my return policy? I'm buying earlier than ever. Even at a normal time, when we're not in a pandemic, I always advise companies to extend the return policy for the holiday season. I've been burned by it before, but people are buying things earlier because they are gifting them. This year, people are going to buy even earlier. So you might not even, that 30-day window on a traditional return policy, that might be expired by the time you even give the gift. And then you're left kind of in a lurch to poor customer service experience. So definitely think about extending your return policies. And if you do, promote it because it's going to help for you. As in terms of holiday content within your email message itself, and this probably applies to a lot of different messages, promotional, batch and blast sends, whatever you're doing, think about your navigation bar. So typically your high-level categories, but think about how you can do things such as holiday-related items. It could be stocking stuffers, gifts for him or her, gift guides, whatever that might be. Let people click through, navigate what they're looking for very quickly. Focus on gift guides, not only in the navigation bar, but also put in as secondary or tertiary content in your messages as well. Product recommendations, self-gifting is real. People are going to be buying for themselves just as much as others. So they could be generic, they could be top sellers, and of course, promote your value adds and messages as well. These are all things from a holiday theme standpoint that can certainly work for you. And finally, add SMS. I'm going to talk a little bit about SMS later, but think about how you can break through a little bit of that inbox noise, especially for new subscribers. If they've opted into your SMS channel, they want to hear from you from SMS, but it's a great way to intro them into the SMS messages. So later in the season, as you start setting those, they know what they're going to look like, they know where to click, they know what that experience is going to be. But it can also help you with subtle reminders. So if your welcome message reminder expires in 1 week, you can set a last chance reminder. You can also just remind them that, hey, you signed up yesterday, haven't made a purchase. We know they're shopping faster and furious. We can then send them a reminder at that point as well. So incorporate SMS wherever you can into these automated messages. Beyond having just a welcome message, this is probably going to be your most profitable message sent out of your email program, cart abandonment. We all know it, right? They are so far down the quote unquote purchase funnel. They've identified products, but we do know the holidays are a little bit different. So you can see cart abandonment metrics are through the roof. We have clients that make 15, 20% of all their email driven revenue off cart abandonment messages. Typically, that's less than 1% of the volume of their total email send. So you can kind of see the theme I'm working with here with high revenue driving messages, the volume of email sends, and they're relevant here. So with cart abandonment, there's some holiday specific things you want to think through. So we're going to talk about timing, number of messages, incentives, all these things which are going to be important to make slight adjustments to make them as effective as possible. So let's talk about timing and the number of messages, because these kind of play side by side with each other. Normally, you might have a message that sends at, I don't know, 1 or 2 hours, maybe 24 hours, maybe 3 days, maybe 7 days. Chances are people aren't putting things in their cart and debating for 7 days during the holidays. So we want to shorten that time frame if we can. So think about moving that 7 days to maybe 3 days and just get them in, get them out, whatever you want to do there, but try to hit them. Now that may say, okay, well, if I'm putting all 3 messages out in the first 3-4 days, what happens if they do have a longer decision cycle? Well, you can add a 4th or 5th message. There is no law against that. So if we think about this and say, okay, does it make sense to add a 4th or 5th message? Maybe so. If so, let's go ahead and do it. So think about how the number of messages play with the timing rules here. The one thing you need to be mindful of is a lot of people will use their cart as wish list for the season. So they'll put 10 things in their shopping cart, maybe planning to buy 2. They're probably going to look at competitors, see where they can get a better price. So we send these subtle reminders. We can certainly take advantage of that. When it comes to incentives, same talk track as I gave you with a welcome message. Think about matching your holiday promotions in here, but also think about doing different things. So we talk about, which I will in a second, about cart totals and things like this. See how we can differentiate those to try to get someone to make a purchase at that point. So just like the welcome, try to match your holidays. If you do have something that is maybe not in line with the holidays, make sure it's stackable. But here is a great opportunity to, if you don't want a discount in the cart abandonment, use that sense of urgency again. This is going to be great because, hey, products in your cart, they're not going to last long. We're going to hit you with it. We're going to try to remind you, you better get in and you better make that purchase now. Incentive can help that, but it doesn't always need to be in that first message. This is where you want to really pump up the sense of urgency for the season. As I mentioned, use SMS. So this is a great opportunity. Last chance reminders. If you expire shopping carts, you can certainly send an SMS to those subscribers. You can send SMS only discounts if you want. Also factor in the number of messages. You know what, Greg? I love the idea of sending 4 or 5 messages. I have 3 right now. I don't necessarily want to send a 4th or 5th message. Consider it for an SMS subscribers. So we send 3 email messages, and then we say, okay, if you're in the SMS, we're going to give you a chance because you haven't converted off email. You might have not even seen the email. Let's send you an SMS reminder instead. Different channel, something they've opted into, but now you can really start making the different channels work for you as well. And then finally, factor in either the cart total and or the purchaser themselves. So here's a great instance where maybe the free shipping threshold on your website is $35. You have a cart that they abandon and it is $25. Do we want to send them a 3-message series? Well, maybe not. Maybe you do. But we also want to increase that spend there. So if we could think about, okay, we know it's under the free shipping threshold. We'll send some messages that we're going to give them an incentive, matches our holiday, but we're going to put them in a minimum spend on there. And maybe it's 10% off or 15% off, but we're going to put that minimum spend at $50. So not only are they going to qualify for free shipping, which is a great value add, but they're also going to feel like they're getting a deal, but you increase the average order value at that point as well. If it's over $100, maybe they're wish listing it, or maybe it's just someone who wants to buy a lot of stuff. All right, so think about how this impacts you, and you can target them with a little bit more. We don't have to talk about free shipping. Maybe you talk about expedited shipping or giving them a better discount or whatever it might be. But again, you can put another minimum spend on there knowing it's over 100 and see if you can increase that a little bit more as well. And then you can also factor in purchase history. So did the consumer, are they a loyal customer? Have they purchased 20 times from you? Maybe their messaging is a little bit different. Maybe if it's a first-time customer, we know they might have that welcome incentive, which we now know is $5 off XYZ. Let's have our welcome or our cart abandonment messages match that incentive or stackable with that one so that we're always hitting around the same percentages of the same incentives to try to get them to convert. And then finally, from the third revenue driving messages, browse and product abandonment, very similar approaches, window shoppers, if you will. One is obviously more targeted to specific products they've identified, but have not placed an item in their cart, versus more they've been browsing your site, a particular category, but haven't clicked on specific specific products. So you can see, again, the metrics, high open rates, more so high conversion rates as well. They're going to do a lot for you. A lot of similar tactics with cart abandonment. So think about if you're doing either product or browse abandonment, you might not have time or may not want to set it up for your entire site. So think about from a holiday standpoint, how we can go, okay, here are high traffic items or holiday specific items we plan on selling through the holiday season. Let's set it up for that so we can move the inventory, or we know we can capitalize upon our best customer intent at that point. Timing rule is very similar to cart abandonment. We can send these 1 or 2 hours after they leave the site, capture immediate intent there. Don't give them a chance to bounce around, check out other sites, but all they know is it's a very relevant and very timely message. Incentives, same thing. I think here is a great opportunity where you don't necessarily need to pump hard incentives at people to get them to come back because they're just browsing. So here I would say, if you are not going to offer an incentive or you can't offer an incentive, really hammer home that sense of urgency. I think this is where you're going to find a lot of success with this type of message during the holiday season, and really focus on, hey, these items won't last long, right? That fear of loss is powerful. And then finally, add SMS again to all of these opportunities from automated standpoint. So welcome cart, browse, promote those value adds that matter, use a sense of urgency in the messaging. Incentives, make sure they match your holiday promotions, but also be quicker with the timing of your messages. And then finally, integrate SMS messages wherever you can, because it's going to increase the urgency. It's also going to be very timely for the consumer. Majority are read very quickly. So I would say, if nothing else, from an automation standpoint, those are the 3 I would focus on because they are going to drive the most revenue for you. If you have more, consider some of these same factors, sense of urgency, incentives, but you also have those things working in your favor. Moving on to number 2 in SMS, and I talked about this. I think this is going to be a gold mine for retailers who utilize this in a good fashion this holiday season. Untapped potential. We're going to have, we're already seeing e-commerce blow up because of the pandemic. We're seeing a lot more inbox noise. It's going to increase even more, like it does every year. But SMS is still a profitable, powerful channel, but definitely underutilized. But it's also an opt-in channel. And the one thing we saw from one of our COVID reports with the stats we put out is when push came to shove, those opt-in channels mattered. So we have a lot of retailers finding success with it. Again, this can help cut through that noise. So getting tons of emails, I get an SMS and I check it and I'm like, bam, I got this thing right here. So we did some analysis last Black Friday, retailers that sent SMS messages, 7x higher campaign conversions than just standalone email, because there's so much email going out there. SMS is more personal, if you will. It's seen, it can entice that action. It can even drive people to email as well. So the beauty, I think, with SMS is it works as both a standalone channel and a complementary channel to email, which is great. Complementary, we saw it inside the workflows, which I just talked about. Standalone can also work great. So how do we do this in a scalable and actual format? Well, it is a trusted opt-in channel. It's important. If you have a younger demographic, especially important as well. So you think about the younger demographic, which is maybe 23-ish this year, Gen Z, right? 30% of those are uncomfortable being away from their phone for more than 30 minutes. And then 83% of Gen Z expects to maintain or increase email usage over the next 4 years. But this is also a natural communication channel. So you could see the importance of both email and SMS together. I looked at stats numbers from September 1st to September 22nd this year, so just last week. They sent almost the same number of SMS messages, that's us, that we did almost the entire Q2. So 98% of the volume. Retailers are already ramping up and getting ready for the holiday season, so it's going to be huge. But here's the good news. It's not too late. If you don't have an SMS program, or you've been collecting it but you're not sending messages, you can start doing that now. You can start collecting it through the entire season. It'll only help you next year. It is definitely not too late. So first of all, what we want to do is we want to just add SMS to our opt-in page. So pop-ups, exit intents, whatever you want to do there, just add that as a field and start collecting those, and that'll allow you to start targeting those. You'll know pretty quickly whether people want to start signing up for those. My guess is a lot of people will. I'm signed up for a bunch of them, part of my job, but I also like them. I find them very valuable, and they do get me to convert, believe it or not. So benefit here is 90% of all SMSs are read within the first 3 minutes, which makes it a perfect opportunity, perfect channel to send last chance reminders. If you have flash sales, hey, you send an email, it might be 3 hours before they get to it. Flash sale ending in half an hour, they're going to see it. You can use, again, that sense of urgency there. Items selling out fast. If inventory is going low and you want to make that final push, hey, XYZ selling out fast, get it before it's gone. And of course, optimize it into your messages for automated messages for last chance reminders, very similar tactics there. You can use it to drive people to your emails. Crazy concept, I know, but hey, send something that says, hey, check your email for Black Friday week sale starting now, or check your email for items left in your cart in a special offer, whatever it might be. Or think about how to make it early. So, hey, hey, Greg, flash sale coming up in 30 minutes, get it before things sell out. So you can really prep people for different things, but you can also drive them to email for certain things like this as well, which could be a really valuable tool, especially if you have a lot to convey, a lot of imagery, a lot of maybe a unique promo code, whatever that might be. It's a great way to drive people over there. Exclusivity, SMS only discounts, right? Give them a reason to sign up for your SMS. We cut through the entire season with these exclusive type sales. It could be an exclusive discount for flash sales, like I mentioned. It could be an extra discount. So 10% off site-wide. By the way, you're an SMS subscriber, we'll give you 15% off. So make them want to be a part of the program, but certainly put some exclusivity behind it. MMS, that is sending images along with your SMS messages. Probably don't need to do it for every single message, but think about when visuals might be needed. So we talk about things where maybe you have a flash sale coming up, or it's your biggest sale of the season. The promo code is something generic like Cyber 10 or something like that. People remember images, so you can send the email. You can also send an SMS and say, hey, biggest sale of the year. We have an image with that huge promo code on there, so they remember it, they hit it. Again, you don't need to use MMS all the time, but think about those great places where you can use it, reinforcing that promo code, mentioning free gifts, whatever it might be at that point. Talked about workflows before. Here's a great place to use SMS as well as those transactionals. We're in a time where everyone's expecting, whether it happens or not, shipping delays or shipping problems, especially if you're shipping to someone else. People want to feel relaxed. They want to feel comfortable with their order. Is it getting to me in time? Is it getting to my recipient in time? So we can use SMS for, hey, confirm your order, check it out, or hey, your product shipped, and it just gives them, it makes a better customer experience, but it also gives them a sense of comfort shopping with your brand. So think about these other areas you can use this from an automated fashion. That's maybe not those first three workflows, but also are key components of a customer shopping experience. And that's going to bring me to my third, which is sending. And this is probably the biggest question that my old clients used to give me all the time is, when do I start sending? How often do I send? Do I use emails? What's the deal here? And let's try to break it down. So the one thing with the holidays we need to remember, it's no longer about Black Friday. It's no longer about Cyber Monday. Now, I say that knowing that Black Friday and Cyber Monday will most likely, if not in all certainty, be the two biggest online sales days of the year, like they are every single year. Usually Black Friday becomes the champion, and then a couple of days later, Cyber Monday. I'm not saying ignore those days, but the season has shifted. It's more into periods within the season. So I've been writing about Gray November for years, but this is, I think this year more than ever, if you wait, you're going to be late. So don't be late. So let's talk about when to send, strategies and tips for sending here as well. So I don't think you need to do something special for Amazon Prime Day. I put it there October 13th and 14th this year. We all anticipated mid-October to be the official start of the holiday season. I think this just kind of reinforces and confirms that. Doesn't mean you need to give your Black Friday sales October 13th or 14th this year, while you very well can. Just expect holiday promotions to be ramping up in mid-October this year, which is going to lead to Gray November, which is kind of this month-long discounting. Focus early on, especially if you have inventory issues or potential inventory issues. What's in our warehouse? Can we get more if we're out of stock? Also think about competitor inventories. If the borders get shut down or there's shipping delays from things coming overseas and you have everything in your warehouse, you need to have a great season. How does that impact your discounting strategy? Because maybe you don't need to discount quite as much, knowing other people may be running out of inventory here. You might actually be able to increase your prices a little bit. So think about the shipping aspects of this as well. Think about promoting, again, as I mentioned, common theme, sense of urgency, and use this October period as the official start to test out discounts that you might be playing around with, or automation, or automation timing, or automation incentives strategies. But we know it's going to start in October. It might not be the peak in October, but it gives you a little bit of wiggle room to start playing around with different things you might find more successful. When I talked about notable periods, and I mentioned gray November, but this is kind of the shift we've seen. About 4 or 5 years ago, we started seeing these things earlier in November, but really the deep sales were starting a couple days before Black Friday, and then shifting to a week. And then, we started talking about the Cyber 5 and things like this. 2 years ago, Black Friday week really took hold. Last year, just blew through the roof. It became a full thing. And while we talk about the Cyber 5, if we think about something I've been calling the Cyber 10, which is really the Sunday before Black Friday through the Tuesday after Cyber Monday. Last year, Tuesday was in the last 2 years. Tuesday after Cyber Monday was one of the top online sales days in the entire holiday season. A couple of years ago, Thanksgiving wasn't even a big shopping day. It is now one of the biggest online sales days of the entire season. So I want you to think more about Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is more tentpole days. The holidays are centered around these days, but if you wait to do your Black Friday campaigns until Black Friday or even a day before, you are going to be missing out on revenue. They're not the holidays, they're a part of it. So we think about this 10-day span where if you want to do it from the Sunday before through the day after, good opportunity. I think 2 weeks before Black Friday is when you're going to see it really ratchet up and companies just start hammering down and offering their deals 2 weeks before. So really think about how these busiest days of the year and these periods impact your season more than standalone days. And then from a sending strategy, right, if you are not a daily sender, I think it's okay to be a daily sender. Now you can use October to kind of ramp up your sends a little bit. You don't need to go from 0 to 100 overnight. But if you're normally sending 2 times a week, start in October and start sending 3 or 4 times a week. When it comes to remails or booster sends, these are automated sends to people who didn't open the initial email. I would kind of reserve those for really important emails. A lot of times during the season, you might be better off sending to the entire list or only sending to the openers of those earlier ones. But chances are you're probably better off sending to everyone because you never know when they're going to re-engage or shop. If you really want to use remails to non-openers, factor in SMS here. Hey, how many people didn't open but subscribe to SMS? I have a much better chance of engaging via that. Might be fewer sends, but it's more targeted. On those key tentpole days, Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Cyber Monday, day after, whenever it might be, don't be scared to send 3 times, even 4 times on those days, morning, afternoon, evening, definitely works. Think about how SMS can help offset this as well. So inboxes will be flooded. Everyone's going to be sending a last chance reminder, things expire or sale extended. Everyone knows it's going to be extended into Saturday. We're not crazy here. So, can you use an SMS message to fight that fatigue a little bit and then send them that reminder that, hey, it's going to expire in 2 hours or whatever it might be. But it saves you an email send, but also communicates with that. Think about how you can target unengaged contacts, loyal customers, recent purchasers a little bit differently if you can. I know it's a busy season. A lot of us are strapped with time. A lot of us are doing all the emails themselves, which can get just crazy and overwhelming. But can you send set messages to loyal customers and give them early access to something? Or recent purchasers, maybe just give them a day or 2 off, not too far, because they're going to purchase some more, but maybe we just treat them a little bit differently. Unengaged contacts, maybe we don't send them 5 times a week. And these are your people that are just not opening messages. Maybe we send them 3 times a week, save ourselves a little deliverability issue potential, but we also save ourselves from sending some emails and we make it a little more targeted. And then the one thing here is weekends, leading up through that kind of that Black Friday week, weekends tend to see lower email volume. So think about this. People shop on the weekends, especially during the holiday season. Don't be scared. Maybe this is a great opportunity to use it to get in front of customers where there's lower send volume. You can jump in there and take a little more advantage of it. So don't be scared to send on weekends, but this might be a really great opportunity to get in front of people, even if you increase that to like two emails on a Saturday, right? Morning and then evening, whatever it might be. Get in front of people and use it to your advantage here. So send early, send often, really hammer it home. So these are while there's a lot more in these under each of these 3 things, those key automations and all these things I think are going to have the biggest potential impact on your revenue this holiday season. So with your automation, welcome message, cart abandonment, browse/product abandonment, whichever one you choose to do, or both, within these messages, incentive match. Look at how the incentives line up with your holiday season. Use a sense of urgency in all your messages. Use SMS and promote your value adds, of course. SMS does not have to be expensive, and it isn't expensive. Great opportunity. Again, I think this is going to be a gold mine this holiday season for retailers using it. It's a trusted channel. It converts well. It's going to break through a very crowded inbox. And the question I always tell people is, a lot of times they push back. It's like, I don't want to get a message from a retailer. Well, if you don't want to, you don't have to sign up for the program. If they sign up, it's intent. And I will always say, are you going to send or receive a text message today? If the answer is yes, there's potential there. And finally, don't be late, right? Send early, send often. Don't wait until Black Friday, Cyber Monday to launch your best sale of the season. Definitely think about the Cyber 10, so that's Sunday before Black Friday through the day after Cyber Monday. But Gray November is real. October this year is very real. Doesn't have to be daunting, doesn't have to be overwhelming, but please just do your best effort and you'll be taken care of and you'll have success this holiday season. My email is right there. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, direct me. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me there. You can just search for me. My contact info is everywhere. I am also the host of the Card Insiders podcast. So we have season 2 coming out in just a very short time, which is all holiday related around things that, around shipping and different things that maybe we are not experts in, but we brought in experts around those type of things. So be sure to tune into the Card Insiders podcast, but reach out to me with any and all questions you might have. So Derek, I think I am 8 seconds away from hitting my time. So I have nailed this perfectly, although I did talk fast.
No, you're that perfect. Yeah, you need the award for it most perfectly timed. Definitely yesterday we were almost 30 minutes over by the end. Most of it was totally my fault. So, but it's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm linking up the podcast right now so that everyone can follow along. I mean, we've mentioned so many different resources and podcasts. This is definitely one you want to subscribe to. I actually do listen along to this as well. And in fact, and Chloe's podcast she was on earlier. Yep. And then right after you, right now, we have Mr. Kurt Elster and his podcast. Oh my gosh, I was just listening to, I don't know if you're following his podcast, The Income Store Story is sorry to sidetrack this all, but it is quite some gossip, quite a scandal.
So I do enjoy his podcast as well. International Podcast Day apparently today. So who knew?
Yeah. Okay. That's perfect. We need to make up more days around e-commerce. We're going to make up a one day every, one thing to do every day of the year. It'll be International Conversion Rate Optimization Day. And then we'll have Optimizing Your Cart Page Day. No, I don't know. All right. Anyways.
I need you to lead that.
Yeah, exactly. Phenomenal presentation. You gave us a lot to think about. Definitely number one takeaway is, I would say SMS mandatory, and there's lots of ways of incorporating it, including in your transactional emails, getting a repeat purchases right as the product's shipping to them before it's even landed on their door, because maybe they forgot something else that they want to include or some sort of add-on or upsell. Yep. Second one that I thought was really important was you said instead of 5 days for Cyber Monday, Black Friday, think about it as 10 days or perhaps launching your promos 2 weeks earlier. Couldn't agree more. If it's only that one campaign that's being sent on either, basically Friday, it is going to be so easy to get lost in the noise. It'll be really scary for you there. And of course, those emails aren't going to open. A little tip I included in here actually was, you can create automation that says, if email wasn't opened within 24 hours, then send text message. Great way to ensure people are getting your message across. And remember, they opted in to receive messages from you. So it's your right and duty to make sure that they're getting that information until the moment they decide they don't want it anymore. That's my philosophy on it. We don't want to be the most annoying people in the world, but this is information that needs to be in their hands. It's the only reason we would be sending the information, and that's why we want them to open it.
Absolutely. Could not agree more.
Awesome, Greg. Thank you so much.